Thanks, guys.
Dave, what's your thoughts on that game and the second half in particular?
Yeah, Roy, frustrating game because I thought in the first half, we were in the contest, and I just said to the boys in there, like we made a couple of really key errors, which they scored straight away from. I can think of 3, and they scored 21 points just like that. That's why they're the best team in the comp. And the challenge for us is probably to regroup now because we have last year we won 1 game, and this year we're still very much in with an opportunity to make a playoff game. And if we can do that, that's a hell of an achievement for this club. And I think, as sad as we're feeling, we got to figure out what happened there, and there's a lot of technical things that we missed, and we've got to fix those things, and we've got to go try to beat the Brumbies. And if we can beat the Brumbies, we put ourselves in a real position to be able to do something special. So it's a balance between controlling our disappointment and also being tough enough on ourselves to know that there were some things out there that just weren't good enough.
Do you still feel like the team can make that rapid turnaround? It's been, I think, 4 or 5 losses now.
Yeah.
It's been quite a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, really, to be honest, we're probably missing, I think, 5 or 6 Wallabies, like at the moment. I mean, obviously, Willie G comes off at half-time, but we don't have Dane Hallett-Petty, we haven't got Jordan Alesi, we haven't got Ben Daly, Wallaby Lucy, we haven't had Laurie Weeks the whole season, we haven't got Ross Hallett-Petty. So there's a lot of experience in those guys that are there, and I think, and that's by no means an excuse. I think it's good for some of the younger guys who've had that exposure. For Eddie, having his first start of the season at Lucid, I thought he went really well. But what we have lacked is that when we come under pressure against the really good sides, we battle to handle that. I guess. The big missing piece on that is just bits of missing detail that we've missed in our game, and guys need to be accountable for that.
Just having as much you mentioned there about not coming up against, when you come up against the good sides, the missing pieces. Do you look at tonight and say they're a really good side, and we're close, or were you guys really bad tonight as well?
I feel a bit mixed about it because I think for sort of I guess sort of 50 minutes, I felt we were really in the contest, and we were causing them some problems and things, and then the game obviously got away from us in the last bit. So it feels funny to sit here and sort of say that I thought for large parts we were in it. I thought, one of the things we wanted to do tonight was just come and make the people of Melbourne proud with it from an intensity point of view, and for a large part of the game we were doing that. Although we were missing a few tackles and things like that, we were really scrambling. We were playing with a lot of character and a lot of heart. But ultimately, you're not going to play against probably the best provincial team in the world at the moment and get an outcome if you're missing key details on what you're supposed to be doing, and that's a responsibility on us as coaches, but also a responsibility on the players. Guys have to be accountable to those things, and we need to tidy that up if we hope to go to Canberra and beat the Brumbies.
What are your confidence levels in the team now as compared to start of the season, the first 4 weeks when things were going well? You still have the same level of confidence in your team?
I mean, obviously, if you're asking me right now after the game, I'm feeling a bit emotional after the game. I think that's normal. But before the season started and people asked me how we're going to go, I think people have lost sight of the fact that last year this club won 1 game. And we've broken a lot of records and we've done some special things. Are we good enough to beat the Crusaders right now? No. But I knew that before the game. Do you know what I mean? What we have to keep sight of was what do we have to do to close the gap, and we have to keep chipping away at that gap and keep people accountable. So that's really the key thing, and that's probably aside from the scoreline, that's probably the disappointing thing in that last 30 is like there are so many things I can tell you that we talked about in the week and then didn't execute. So a big part of that is on me as the coach, and then second part is okay, well the players didn't internalise the message. It's got to be on them as well in some ways.
No, absolutely not. I think in the first half we were well in the game. We gave away a scrum penalty. They kicked 3, so they're only up by 3 going into half time. So we went in the sheds fairly positive going to the sheds. We knew we had to start the second half well, and I just don't think we did. And then I think it just sort of snowballed effect in the second half. And the Crusaders are a good side. They're going to capitalise on the missed detail, like Dave said, and yeah, and then in the last 20, yeah, it really snowballed, like I said before.
Dave, do you feel like you're getting the best out of your, players like Marika, who's scored 1 try this season, and do you think maybe is that a confidence thing, that maybe players are sometimes looking for a safer option than using what you've done?
No, someone asked me about Marika the other day. I mean, to be honest, I think Jack Maddox and Sefa, who are the other wings, are in the top 10 try scorers in the comp, as far as I know. I think they might be 6th. I'm not sure after this weekend, but sometimes the ball doesn't go Marika's way, and that's fair. But there were certainly parts, particularly with our backs tonight, where they missed details. We had a 5-metre scrum, and Naki picks and goes from the base of the scrum, and the back misses the clean on that scrum, where he knows he's supposed to clean that. He didn't go to the scrum, they turned the ball over. But that's what happens when you play the Crusaders. Somebody missed a role that they were supposed to do, which is frustrating. And those are the sort of things that championship teams just don't do those things, and we just had far too many of them tonight.
According to one of the stats, your team missed 24 tackles in the first half. I mean, you were almost surprised that the margin was as less as it was with that kind of error rate.
Yeah, and well, I was really pleased with this, with the intensity of our scramble and things like that. Like we really did, but. Yeah, for whatever reason, I'll have to go and have a closer look at that. Obviously disappointing individual slipping off tackles. I can think of one from the restart where they've just run 80 metres and scored, which is just, that's pretty frustrating.
Adam, can I ask you the same question I asked Dave? What's your confidence level like in your teammates right now and the capacity to get something going in the next couple of weeks, as it was compared to when you started the season?
Yeah, I've got full confidence in the team. I know something special is going to happen within this team. And I know we have to turn this performance around. We've got the right people in the boat at the moment to do that. And yeah, I've got full confidence in the boys to actually turn around. We've got special players, throughout our team, and we've got that depth. Like Dave was saying, missing Willie G in the second half there. Dane Halapetti hasn't played. There's some guys that can turn games when it's an arm wrestle and you need something special, and those guys can really turn games. And for everyone else in the squad, it's about that detail and accountability, and I think we just missed that today.
Can I ask you if there's anything you feel like you can do as captain to turn things around within the group? Maybe not at training, maybe somewhere else, maybe not in a game, maybe grabbing the boys together and doing something to try and get things going?
I think for me as captain is that I try and just lead with my actions. We do a lot of stuff off the field, and we try and stay really tight as a group. But yeah, obviously we can review that hard as a group. But I really try and lead through my actions on the field, and making sure that my detail in my game is as best as it can be. And I think if I do that, then it shows an example of being across your detail, leading by example. We don't want to get caught up in too many words. We can over-review things too, I think, and overthink little things. But we've really got to show at training that actions is louder than words.
I mean, I think the other thing too, guys, to be fair, is that we played in Cape Town last week. The Crusaders played in Canberra, so it's very different. The championship team travelled a 45-minute flight or whatever it is. We travelled 24 hours, and that's something I think Super Rugby generally has to look at. One of the reasons why AFL is so popular is they've got an equalisation model in a lot of the things that they're doing to give everybody a fair bite of the cherry. And while the Crusaders might say that at different times they have to do that travel on the back, well, the difference is that they're a club that's used to winning and have that momentum, and I think Super Rugby needs to think about giving the clubs that don't have the momentum some of that, because if you look at the success that AFL's had in that model, why wouldn't we be thinking about some of those things?
So that would be a bye after a South African trip would be preferable, as opposed to go South African 2 games then have a bye.
Well, I think if you had to ask me what has been our number one challenge this week, it's jet lag, you know, the Crusaders didn't have jet lag. The Crusaders came from Canberra, so they've had an extra day's training because we had the flight, and that's, I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm just saying that I think it's something that Super Rugby should be looking at, because it certainly has made the week more difficult for us.
What's the latest on Will with the early prognosis?
Will got a bump on his knee, so he seemed pretty positive when I spoke to him in the change room, but that's probably pretty typical Will, you know. So we'll just have a look now. I asked the physio, and the physio hadn't had a chance to look at him yet. So hopefully when I've gone back in now, they'll have an idea.
And is Dane much of a chance for next? Dane had a very much.
Yeah, I'd expect Dane to play next week, which is good.